These are the tales and ramblings of two men, their dream of running a successful food truck business and life. We invite you along to join Josh and Skippy on this
Recording
journey.
in progress.
This is Monday Morning Food Truck.
Good morning, Skippy. How are you today?
Joshua, I'm doing great. No?
I'm well. Super.
That was a little bit of a delay there.
Well, it's on satellite phone, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we do have to make sure that it's going to space and back. It does take a minute.
That's right. No, it's everything is well this morning. After 3 months, the windshield in my wife's car has been replaced as of this morning. After much ado, again today, because this can't possibly ever go smooth. But I may have one more visitor for the car. They still have to recalibrate the collision camera, so I might have to step away for a half a second. But yeah, she Ubered to work this morning so they could do the repair in the driveway, and I still had to take the kids to school, so I had to use the other vehicle for the 8 o'clock appointment to take them to school. So she Ubered and had then both sets of keys for her car in her purse. So after I ran the kids to school, I had to run to her place of business to get the other key so that they can do the calibration at some point in time today. So, but a new windshield is in, free of cracks. So that's the important part. This whole saga will soon be behind us.
Until the next one.
Yeah. This is the first windshield I've ever replaced, and hopefully it is the last. So.
Yeah, they're not very fun.
No, it shouldn't be this hard. It should not take 3 months and 4 different companies for me to get a windshield replaced.
FYI, Indiana changed their Welcome to Indiana signs.
Oh. Okay. Welcome to Indiana,
now,
Bert.
I believe it's. I'm driving to Indiana to, unfortunately, have my barbecue pit on the back of my trailer uninstalled. Unfortunately, I believe it's causing more harm than good. And so that's why I'm not live via video satellite, just telephonic device.
Yeah, so if we do have any live listeners today, if you guys can't hear Bert, let us know so he can make sure he yells louder. Unless you just want to hear me the whole time, which we know everybody loves, so.
But hold on, that was probably our least downloaded episode.
The one that was just me?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that. People love me.
Well,
I have the
keep
reviews
telling yourself that, bud.
I have the reviews to stroke my ego.
Absolutely. But as part of our conversation last week, you don't need your ego stroked.
I don't seek it out. Mm-hmm. It just happens. So you're having your smoker taken off your porch. It sounds like permanently.
Yeah. I mean, unless I get a new trailer or something else changes.
So question. How are you getting?
Talk to me.
How are you getting your trailer and your smoker back to your house if they're not going to be together?
Well, that's a great question. I'm very glad you asked. So I was originally planning to go down Wednesday. In the event that, let's put it this way. I didn't realize that my porch only had 2 sets of tie downs, and they're both on the back of the trailer and not near, not where I want them to be. So I'm driving down today to have it unmounted and picking it up Wednesday with a different trailer. So basically, it's just mileage. Yeah, absolutely some mileage.
Okay, so
hopefully I get time on Wednesday night to do a dinner service of some sort.
So are you not open right now?
Well, today's Monday, so definitely
Yeah.
not open on Mondays.
So you're not going to be open tomorrow then? And you're hoping for Wednesday?
I will definitely be open tomorrow.
What are you
I do
cooking on?
have, I do have other forms of cooking devices. Yep.
We appreciate you being
know,
so specific. We like that. Air fryers are wonderful things. I've never tried to put a whole brisket in an air fryer, but I'm sure it'll turn out fine.
Oh, it gets the fat cap really crunchy. I will attempt to use a couple of we call them cans for a small dinner service, or actually I have a kind of a good sized service tomorrow. But yeah, so we're gonna cook on anything I got. To be honest with you. Yep. It's gonna come out great.
I'm sure it'll be wonderful, and there will be zero frustration or problems in the coming days.
Oh, zero problem.
Yeah, just be careful when you're picking those briskets up off those cans. I hear they can get slippery.
That's funny.
So
Real juicy too.
Yeah. So we had touched a little bit last week as we were ending May and had, I think, a day left of May. So we actually came pretty close. I think we really missed it by like $400. So ended May pretty strong. We really had a good week last week.
Congratulations.
Wow, that sounded bitter.
No, sir. Congratulations. I didn't have anywhere near the 600 person catering gig that you did.
Well, it definitely helped the sales number.
Absolutely.
But we did. I think we did more jobs last year, more catering jobs last May than we did this year. Because really, we didn't beat last May's by a ton. But we were definitely busier last May on weekends for catering stuff. So there was a few days where we had 3 events last year. So it all evened out. We ended up for the month, so I'm happy. Yeah,
Absolutely. Better be.
So yeah, we missed our $50K by like $400. We are gonna shoot for it this year or this month though, because last year our May and June were pretty much they were within a couple $100 of each other sales wise. We do not have a 600 person lunch in June, so this is going to be all extra hard work. But we're open 26 days, so we need to average just under a $2,000 day every day. Piece of cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, we're in June. I just had my first catering gig on Saturday from June, and every weekend is booked with catering. There's no public events any weekend in June, and I'm loving it and dreading it at the same time.
Yeah, we have public events this Friday, Saturday. Big ones though. We're looking forward to. Those should be pretty monster days. Other than that, yeah, it's a lot of open houses, and I think we even have a wedding in June. I think. I'm not sure without looking at my calendar, but what's that?
I got my first little book event Saturday. I have a drop off that my wife is handling, and then a wedding that me and my helper are going to 2 hours later.
Yeah, see, that stuff is awesome when you can double up. Yeah, double up the day. So we did that last weekend. Both Saturday and Sunday, we had a single. They were both drop-off catering jobs. So one was 125. Sunday was 125 people, and I think Saturday was 100 maybe. No, Saturday we actually were serving off the truck, the full menu. So we had guaranteed money the both days. So we got approached about these two other events. One was a parade of homes on Saturday. We were just setting up at one of the houses, and we weren't paid to be there. It would have been no different than any other subdivision we set up at, except for a lot more foot traffic because of parade of homes. Had we not had the catering job that day, we wouldn't have done it, just because there was far too many unknowns. There was far too high of a likelihood that it's not a great night. So yeah, we did 20, I think it was 26 transactions for the night. We cooked pretty low. We ended up not throwing away a whole lot of food, because we cooked appropriately for our guests. I mean, that was one where if we sold out in an hour, thank God, let's get the heck out of here, you know?
We're time to go home.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we were there for the 3 hours and still threw away a little bit of food. But that combined with the catering that we did made it a good day. And then yesterday was Locks for Rock. So they were hair donations for wigs for kids. And I mean, we were there for 3 hours. It was like $800 we did, which was better than I thought it was going to be. That was another one where you don't really know. You know, we were right on a busy street, so the thought of you being able to pull some people off the road to come in, plus the people that are there for the event. I mean, they had bounce houses and live music, and they had all kinds of stuff going on, which was awesome. So we kind of cooked for a decent day, and then kind of hoped. So,
did you donate any money back or anything back?
No, they didn't want anything from us. They simply wanted us there.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, they simply wanted us there to help draw people in off the street, because they did a silent auction, like the bounce house and stuff was like $1 a ticket type of thing. On top of the hair, they were also raising money. So we were just there as a draw for them, and they weren't looking for a percentage or anything. They didn't charge us to be there. So yeah, it was. I would have donated hair, but I had to have at least 7 inches. Story of my life.
Was that the rule, or was that the not the rule but the guideline?
Yeah, you had to be able to donate at least 7 inches. So, and even me not having a haircut for 2 months, I'm only at like 2.5.
Well, yeah, story of your life.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean,
that sounds like a good time.
So yeah, Saturday we ended up being like a $2,000 day, and Sunday was a $2,500 day, and you know, so yeah, it's nice when you can do some guaranteed money and then just take something on the side for try to squeeze out a couple extra $100 because you're already working. So I mean, really, driving 20 minutes to get to a location, and Chris and I mean, the payroll doesn't change whether we do it or not. So it's really just, you know, a couple pork butts and a brisket. So worth it to try to make a few $100. So, in my opinion,
your catering gigs this year or even this month, are you getting any weird requests or unusual requests? Maybe something that you don't cook often, but people are asking for or asking if you do it.
No. I'm trying to think, but
I'm getting a lot of requests for chicken quarters.
No, but you've sold chicken quarters in the past, though. We've never been asked to sell anything that we haven't done before. So on our catering options, it has chicken pieces, and that's what we have. We've never done chicken quarters on the truck. I mean, in the past, we've been asked about whole hogs, and if we'd be willing to do that, and it's a big no for us.
Really?
So, yeah. Yeah, I have no desire.
You have the cooker for it.
What's that?
You have the cooker for it.
Yeah, and? You're not going to get the same yield. So your yield is less. Yeah.
All they ever want a hog for is for the ambiance or for show.
Well, exactly, and I'm not bringing people up onto my smoker to see the hog on the cooker. Our trailer's not set up for that, and I'm not having people walk through.
Yeah,
And I'm not gonna go through the hassle of pulling those shelves out, because there's really not a ton of room on that trailer to pull those shelves out of the smoker. Yeah, the door's open all the way, but to get a person on each end of that shelf no. The likelihood of the pig ending up on the floor is pretty high.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
And yeah, I mean, so if they want that ambiance, I'll do 10 pork butts and buy a pig's head and smoke that and set it next to the pulled pork. You know, I'll get a couple of racks of ribs and a pig's head, and it's same thing. There you go.
A couple fresh hams.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I try to tell people that. I said,
You can make it look good.
you can get far more for your money if you don't do a whole hog.
Oh, yeah.
So, and for a party of like 100, I can't fit a large pig on my smoker. They're small pigs.
No.
So to feed 100 people,
you'd always have to cook more.
yeah. So to feed 100 people, I'm either doing 2 pigs or I'm doing a pig and still doing pork butts to fill in the gaps. So
Yeah.
for me, it's just not worth it, and I won't do it. There's people out there that do it, and it would probably be a better product than I would turn out anyways, because I've never done one. But yeah, other than that, the only time we've been asked for something that we don't do normally this year was the hot dogs for the school event. So, but other than that, yeah.
Seems like I was going through menus of what people wanted, and that was like that and Italian pasta salad.
That one's
A lot
interesting.
of requests for that.
We tried that as a side for a couple weeks, for one time, and we threw it almost all away,
Yeah. Oh,
which I thought was odd.
I did. So I did Italian pasta salad this past weekend for an open house, and it was one that they had ingredients that I couldn't use. Like it was, so in Italian pasta salad, it's like, you know, the tricolor rotini pasta. Like I put mini pepperonis in mine, black olives, Italian dressing.
You still there? Oh. You
I'm
cut
here.
out for a second.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out after
Oh,
Italian
sorry.
dressing for a second.
Colby Jack cubed, like little cubes of cheese, stuff like that, and like salad supreme mix. They're like, oh well, we can't have black olives, no onions, no cheese. Like, what the hell can you have? Anyway, so I ended up just putting. It was everything. There no pepperonis either. I ended up just putting red pepper in it, like red bell pepper diced up. But there was I made 2 full pans, and there was a full and like a half of another pan left. Yeah, it's a good time though.
Yeah, every time we do a catering gig lately, I can't believe that you prefer not to do them and would rather do roadside than catering.
I'm gonna this year, this month will tell me whether that's true or not. Because maybe last year I was just so new and I was more scared, I guess, of never running out of food or whatever.
Right.
You know, and I think I've got a better feeling of what each thing I make, how many people it feeds. So
Right.
I'm less worried about that.
Good. Yeah, I mean, guaranteed money is
I have a choice this month.
I think, always the way to go.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah, I think we've already hit our catering numbers as far as outstanding invoices from last year.
awesome.
Anyway, so how was your week?
It's, good. Yeah. I'm trying to go back through and remember. We did back-to-back days at the gas station, which we haven't done in a very long time. So that second day was a question mark for us. But we did about the same sales both days. We brought chicken wings out again for the second day that we were there to try to coax people back in a little bit. That was great. It was a good lunch. Unfortunately, the bar that's in Holland is gotten severely slow. It was pretty bad. And we found out that the person that is in charge of events there and been promoting us put in her notice. So I let her know that we only have 2 dates left on the schedule for them right now, and I told her that I was seeking out new locations for those dates, and we probably would not continue after.
Is that Brew Merchant?
Yeah. Yep. And it's just it's a good neighborhood with lots of people walking around, but we have zero street frontage. It's hard to see us back there. If the bar is slow, we're going to be slow. We do have regulars that are in that neighborhood that come see us. If they don't have business, we don't have business, unfortunately, in that location. So,
that's sad.
Yeah, and they had told us that June, July, and August were their slowest months of the year, which made zero sense to me, and still does. Yeah, I know. But it's kind of holding true that we've seen a steady decline in their business. So maybe we head back out in September and October and see if it picks up again. But nope, we're seeking out a new location for those evenings. Preferably in the Holland area. We like Holland. The people have been good, very supportive, the ones that have come out to see us. So we'd like to find something else in that vicinity. So we'll see. That kind of, you just keep pivoting and figuring out the next thing. We did make some continuing to make modifications to our trailer and the layout. A few weeks ago, we had talked about me taking the fryer out. And really what prompted those to come out was we had to change the gas lines. The code has changed, at least in Michigan, to where it has to be a full PVC coated line. So you can't have the crinkle, the crinkled cut, the accordion style. It's got to be a solid.
You have flex lines anymore?
No, not for commercial rolling. So it has to be a solid PVC coated covering on it, because they found that they crack more easily with the flex line, and then they leak, which is bad. So
when you say solid coated, solid, that means that it's like it ain't moving. Like there's no you have to have it right to where your
it's more like
is.
It's more like a good sturdy rubber hose than it is super flexible.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense. So you're just not getting all the ridges in it for you to be able to bend it a whole bunch of different directions. It takes some effort to move it, but you're not going to get like a big S curve in it to get to where your connections are. When we had our inspection with the fire department last year, he cleared us, but told us that we would need to have it replaced as soon as possible. So, so we pulled out the fryer. He said, if you're not using the fryer, he said, your best bet's just to pull it out and cap the line. That's your safest bet. So we did that. We had to pull the fryer out to get to the lines on the stove easier. And then in the process of changing the lines on the stove, we decided just to pull it out. Because really we don't need the 6 burners. And we had talked about that. I think Skippy, you and I had before.
Many a time.
What's that?
Many a time.
Yeah. there's no need for 6 burners. We don't use the oven portion. So I purchased so we pulled the stove out. That's sitting in my garage currently. So if anybody needs a 40-pound fryer or dual, I think it's an 80-pound fryer. Don't remember. Anyways, anybody needs a fryer and or a commercial gas stove, 6 burner. It's a hell of a unit. Let me know. I'll sell them both for $1,500 as a pair. Heavy. Heavy. We got it out, and Chris said, I hope you're happy because it's not going back in. Yeah, it is.
How hard was it to get through the door?
Actually, not that bad. The door is just wide enough, and that stove is just narrow enough that we could get it all the way out onto the porch with a smoker there. That was easier than getting the freezer out of there. Because the freezer was so long.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's out.
So now you have what? You have about 4 feet of space that you're going to try to fill now?
Yeah, counter has been ordered. So stainless steel table has been ordered. It'll be here on Thursday. That'll fill that space. It's a 4x2, and then depending on how that goes in, so it has the table, the countertop, and then a shelf underneath, and then you can get the attachments for upper shelves. But we want to get it in first, and then measure correctly after it's in to see if we have the clearance with the hood to be able to put that on. So we'll have an abundance of more storage, which will be nice. But in the meantime, we have a storage nightmare because we use the oven for our pan storage, and yeah, so stuff's just been kind of floating around in the trailer all over the place. We have a plastic 4-foot table sitting in that spot right now. That's not attached to anything, so that slides around when we move. Yeah, it's awesome. But luckily,
okay.
No major messes to clean up thus far. And we saved, I think,
wait till you have one of those.
Between the stove and the fryer, I think we are saving about 800 pounds on that side of the trailer. And yes, it's noticeable. Noticeable pulling the trailer.
Well, when our top fan Bubba took his big stove out of his, and I think he had 2 of the slide refrigerator kind of thing, the merchandiser ones.
Yeah.
He said that saved him over 1,200 pounds, I think.
Yeah.
Just with those old fridges and then that big ass stove that he didn't need. So what are you doing for a stove now?
I just have a single. I got a single induction burner, electric burner.
Okay.
So now the
Much
question,
easier.
What's that?
Much easier.
Is it?
I would assume so.
Why would it be easier?
To be less space to take up, so now you got more room for activities. Step Brothers reference.
So I have concerns. My propane stove was kicking out a whole lot of BTUs. So my concern is on the induction that I'm not going to be able to boil water as fast, and it'll slow things down a little bit for me there. The other thing I have to be careful of is not overloading one leg of my power cable. So.
Okay.
So
can I make a suggestion or make a or not a recommendation, but I ask why you got a regular stainless steel table instead of maybe a small equipment stand to put like a small propane 2-burner stove, like just a cooktop versus having a whole oven?
Okay, so like a camp stove?
No, like they make a tabletop.
Yeah,
like
I know what you're saying.
Version of your stove.
But then I still have propane lines, and I'd rather not have the propane lines to have to worry about.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear you mention about like not ever wanting those lines again. Okay, I got you.
Right now, the only thing I am using propane for is my water heater, and
Yep.
I will be able to remove the 100-pound cylinders and go down to 20-pound cylinders and probably still not go through 2 of those in a whole year. And be able to save on insurance because I can go back to them and show them that I'm no longer carrying 200 pounds of propane. So yeah,
makes sense.
And to get the BTUs out of like a 2 burners, it was way cheaper to go with the induction. So if it works, great. But yeah, I just have to. We're mapping out what's on which leg. We have a pretty good idea. So it's just a matter: can we run the AC in the morning, or do we need to shut that off? Until we get done with making mac and cheese. So it's not a huge deal, but it's one of those things that I'm going to test today while I can keep an eye on it while I'm not doing other things, just to make sure that the plug doesn't get hot. Because we've done it before. We've melted a plug, and that's just from one leg of the panel being overloaded. And part of that problem is that we go from our 50 amp plug down to a 30 amp plug, and that's where we have the problem, is on that connection from 50 to 30. Because I just don't have the length in a 50 amp. So I have plenty of 30 amp. So we go from 50 amp to 30 amp back into a 50 amp plug. So next step will be buying a longer 50 amp RV cable. But they're super expensive. Super, super expensive.
They are.
Yeah. So, and yes, I know I could make one myself, but I know my limits. And I'd rather buy one that I can sue somebody else if it catches on fire.
Oh, good.
Insurance tends not to pay out if you don't use licensed electricians.
I wouldn't know. All of my stuff has been done by competent electricians.
Licensed?
Thank you. They're definitely competent. They definitely have a driver's license. Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about me possibly getting a new trailer in sometime in the future. One that would, I guess I wouldn't have the suspension problems that I probably have now. On one of our podcasts, you and I talked about makers of trailers. And I could have swore that you had mentioned that if you order another trailer, it probably would not be a Southern Dimensions. You remember saying that at all? Because we talked about it last week, and we were talking about Southern Dimensions again.
I don't remember saying that.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised.
There obviously are other makers of trailers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or makers of concession trailers. Do you think what sets Southern Dimensions aside from maybe others is that's what they're built for, or that they built everything from the ground up? They're not somebody who gets a blank trailer and then finishes it out.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. And they seem to be priced lower than most from what I've seen. And that's when I was pricing mine out.
So you are right. I never got the CAD drawing for the trailer that I was inquiring about.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. So it was parts of the process that I really didn't like with them. Nothing that would keep me from buying another one from them. Before I bought the trailer, the other big, we'll say manufacturer, that I was going through, and he's not big. It was a small business. It was called Cage Crow out of Wisconsin, and they're a fabricator, and they've done some really cool stuff with food trailers, bus conversions, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
We were talking about a bus.
Yeah. So I would love to have one from them. They are more expensive. I'd say probably 25% more, because everything is custom. Everything is done by 5 guys in a shop. It's not a big operation. But I mean, super nice, super unique units. So, Yeah, I would have liked to get one from them. It sounds like, though, he is going to close that business. And not because they aren't busy, it's because they were too busy. And he's seeking some better balance in his life. So he is looking to move on or find a partner who is as passionate as he is about the same stuff that can split the workload. So hoping he stays in business, because I would still love for him to do a trailer for us. But a lot of the food truck
The reason
groups.
I was asking.
Yeah.
The reason I was asking was I was Googling last night, and we've all heard of all the trailers that are made down in Georgia, and then all the companies that are selling them and then adding their whatever they are putting in them. You know, there's obviously Freedom trailers that we know, the QSB trailers. They put all the cabinets and stuff in there. You have like I always see SLE equipment, which I went to their website, and it's like they sell lawnmowers and concession trailers. That's one heck of a business. But some of their trailers, I mean, you're talking. In all fairness, a lot of them look like they're Freedom trailers, which again made in Georgia. This place is SLE's out of Tennessee, but it's anywhere from like 20 to 30 grand less than what you get from SDG or Southern Dimensions Group for kind of the same stuff. And you can customize it and, you know, whatever it is, but as far as what they're advertising, it can be anywhere, $20,000 to $30,000 lower than what you'd see from SDG, which is I'm wondering if that's like Cadillac versus Chevy, or even Cadillac versus Yugo. You know, is that
the old adage
you get what
of
you pay for?
Yep, exactly. You get what you pay for, type of thing. I know that there was a lot of time and care taken into making sure the trailer was properly balanced and properly weighted for the equipment that was ordered with the trailer. Which is why, you know, they make sure that you're going to buy before they go through that effort in your CAD drawings, because they have to figure all that stuff out before they even do the drawings. And then you have guys like me that go and change the whole layout, you know, a year in, and now you're wearing 2 tires every 3 months, and the other 2 aren't worn at all. And then and you with your shackle issues, and which I think a lot of yours is probably overweight or misweighted trailer. And so, I mean, are the other people taking that kind of effort and have that kind of staff to do that properly? Are those trailers insulated? Because our Southern Dimensions are. They insulate the walls. Does it make a huge difference? Who knows? There's enough cracks and creaks, or cracks in the joints of the floor to the walls. I mean, there's spots where you can see light, and there's drill holes and stuff that. So I mean, you turn the fan on and you can feel air coming in through 10 different spots. Anything that goes that cheap would make me have pause. You know.
So I see all these people posting in several food truck groups, whether it be, you know, I'm looking for a food trailer under 20,000 in Michigan, go. You know, and I'm like, you're not going to find anything because it's just not there. You know, and the food truck training group on Facebook, Bill Moore put something out. I wish I had it in front of me. Maybe we could talk about it next week. But it was like, here's the steps. If you want to be a food truck operator or entrepreneur or whatever, here's like, it's like 5 or 6 steps that you need to take, like, before you even think about buying a trailer or buying a truck or something of that nature. Which I thought was amazing, because it was like, I think it was fourth was consider a trailer or a truck, which is going to be better for you. But in the beginning, it was more of, do you have funding? Do you have people? Are people going to, come to wherever you're going? All that stuff is very important to better suited to what you're trying to do before you even jump into, oh, hey, 20 grand for a food truck, but you're never going to be able to find.
Yeah. Yeah. People looking for $20,000 trailers is comical. If you find one, you're going to need to put at least that amount of money into it to get it to pass any inspection in the state.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially this day and age with the way prices are. So.
Which got me thinking about what you were talking about the flex lines. Southern Dimensions, from what I understand, in going through their online quote process, they ask what state you're from so they can research the codes
Yep.
that are in there. So they could definitely build you something that is going to be right for your state, and even the municipality that you're going to be in, versus one that just manufactures it for every state.
Yeah, I mean, even if
spend 30 to 40 grand if you're still going to have to put another couple thousand into it just to get it to where you need it.
Right. Yeah, to have someone come in and move my equipment and replace those lines for me, I bet you it would have been $500 to $800 just in the labor of having to move the equipment and stuff. And it was all to code when we bought it. So the same guy has done my inspections with the fire department every time. So the first time it was fine. Second time he's like, get it changed before we do this again, and shoot me some pictures when you have it done. So, So even if they're not, Southern Dimensions doesn't know all the codes. I mean, they do their best, but there's no way they're going to go down to local fire department and say, hey, is there anything weird you guys got going on there? But if you come across something as you're talking through the process and stuff, say, hey, I was talking to my local fire department. They had mentioned something about propane hoses. What ones are you guys using? And can we go to this one instead? And they'd be fine with it, especially if they haven't done anything yet with that. If you're that early in the process where there's not equipment in, and trust me, it takes a long time for equipment to get put in those things. It's like the last steps. It's not going to be a big deal. It's much better to have it done and caught before. So,
now, do you have any opinions on those trailers that are made in Georgia versus ones that are made in a cold weather state for cold weather usage?
I've never been in one of those trailers that's been made up in Michigan. I know that when I quoted my trailer, I got a quote from Premier Custom Trailers out of Schoolcraft. I sent them the quote that I got from Southern Dimensions and said, can you quote me this exact trailer? And it came back $25,000 higher.
Really?
Yeah. I said, thank you very much.
What was the main difference? Do you remember?
There wasn't. It was the same trailer outside of the shell, but
no, I'm talking about the cost wise. Like, where did the main?
I did not get an item. I didn't get an itemized list. He came back and said, "Yeah, it looks like we'd be about $25,000 higher." So, why? I don't know. That area is the RV capital of the world. If anybody's getting cheap trailer stuff, it should be that area,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everywhere that I've heard of trailers in Michigan, Indiana, Illinois area, they all seem to be more expensive. Is the quality better? I don't know. Or maybe they're they're coated on the underside to help with the salt and the moisture and all the other stuff. I don't know. But I mean, $25,000 better? I highly doubt it. So, maybe they're not using, maybe they're using high-end name brand appliances. My stuff that was in my trailer, I had to Cool It with a K, fridges and freezers, which are based out of Canada. My oven and fryer were Aspers, ASBERs. None of that stuff is name brand in the United States. It might be name brand in Canada. I don't know.
They are.
Okay.
Just by the way, though, so you were generous enough to give me your fridge,
Yep.
which has now died. I sent it on its burial. However, in looking up like the manual for it, it's still like they still charge, and I don't know if it's Canada prices, but it was like a $2,200 fridge.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't one that you could buy, or it definitely wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
So if they're using ones that aren't cheap, then that's really good.
Yeah. But yeah, when they do go,
you gotta pay for it.
it's a little bit harder to get parts for those. I found out too. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, trailers just seem to be cheaper down south. And if anybody has any insight onto, trailer manufacturing in the United States, you could help us out. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but
would you on your next trailer bid, are you going to buy your equipment and put it in yourself, or are you going to have them do it?
It depends. So it'll depend on what they say they're willing to do. So if they are willing for me to tell them which equipment I am going to buy, the exact model numbers and everything, and give them that list, are they willing to make the proper electrical connections and utility connections where they're needed and lay it out for me so that it's properly weighted? Because I don't want to guess on.
And charge you a markup for it?
That's fine if they can just do that legwork for me. I'll pay an extra $500 for you guys to just lay the trailer out with the equipment, because they're gonna have to put in all the plugs and utilities anyways. They're gonna do that anyways. Yeah. So all I need to do is make sure that the trailer is properly weighted. So if you guys can locate the equipment, or at least provide guidance for it, if they're willing to provide that service, then yeah, I'll do it myself. Because as you know, they mark up all the appliances they're reselling and stuff. Am I going to save money in the long run? I don't know. I'd have to kind of go both ways on it and see what I can get. But yeah, I have a warming cabinet right now in my storage unit that just needs a new control board, which is $1,000, which is about as much as a whole new unit, oddly. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to shop around and get some, gently used or resale. We have places in Grand Rapids that have resale commercial stuff, that I wouldn't mind getting a couple fridges or something, or off auction or something like that. And putting it all in myself. The problem is that stuff's a pain in the ass to get in and out of a trailer, Shit's heavy.
Also to figure out how to mount everything right without it moving. Yeah,
yep.
I found that out numerous times.
Yeah, they do a really good job of making sure everything's secure going down the road. So those services are pretty valuable. So I don't know. My equipment list will be much different for the second trailer, I think, than the first one. Just because we're going to have a different use in mind for it most of the time. So yeah. I'd really love to have it going into this weekend with dual service windows. So because we have
well,
big events this weekend.
Yeah, I'm still looking at manufacturers. I did send out another one for that. I think it was Elite Custom Trailers out of in Michigan, which I think is on the east side. Kind of see what they offer.
Yeah, I mean, I would reach
I think
out
that's where
to.
Bubba got.
I'd reach out to Premier Custom Trailers. They're solid units. I've been in a couple of those of just their cargo stuff, and the work is all good and top notch. So,
Yeah.
and maybe they've kind of come back to earth a little bit on some of this stuff, and maybe you can get an itemized. Maybe you can get an itemized list and kind of see what's going on. But, yeah, I was so price driven and had known enough people, and I've been in enough Southern Dimensions to know that they were good trailers. Get it at a price that was so much less than the majority of the other manufacturers, it was a no-brainer at the time. So,
Yeah, no, that's the word of mouth. You know how you've had this trailer forever. That's the first one I've always looked at. You know, mine was a used one, hoping for the best, and you see what I've had to go through so far in the 2 years I've owned it.
yeah.
Not saying it's anything of the trailer's fault, but I was price driven at the time, and this is what I did. Being price driven kind of kicks you in the ass sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at reviews and stuff and all these Facebook groups that are posting about trailers and trailers that are manufactured in other countries and stuff, I would definitely try to avoid that. But I don't think there's a trailer company or a food truck vendor trailer company out there that has a flawless reputation. You know, there's been. Hold on a second, please.
Holding.
Hello, this is Josh.
I must be on mute. Or we must be on mute because we cannot hear anybody. So if anybody's listening to this wanting to talk about trailers, Skippy's looking potentially. You know, what are your scenarios? Do you want to buy used, buy new? Do you want to build? Do you want to buy a shell and build yourself? Those are all kind of the big decisions when it comes to a trailer or a truck. But I can tell you what, if you're starting a barbecue truck and you want to get a porch trailer, make sure your porch can handle whatever weight you put on there. A lot of smokers can range from 1,000, 2,000 pounds, and make sure your axles are bigger than the minimums. And I think that's why I'm having problems with mine is I do have small axles on there. So 6-lug up to even 8-lug axles are definitely going to be my next thing with this one potentially, if it's a possibility to upgrade them. Oh, hey! I was just letting the people know that we must have been on mute.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to see if anybody wanted to drop us a comment on what they're thinking about when it comes to a trailer or a truck. What are they looking for? Buying a shell, buying new, building your own, buying a shell and then just putting everything into it. We know some people that have done that in the past.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to do that.
I don't know how this turned into a trailer episode.
Yeah, you know, we just go where it goes. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to buy a shell and do it myself.
There's just a lot to it. I talked to somebody the other day that they wanted to buy a 7x14 or 7x16 trailer that was a shell. And I'm like, well, you need to cut a hole for the window. Oh, I could just, open the door and build something. I'm like, you could build a lot of things. But is it, the old saying goes, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah.
You're going to put so much into it and be proud of it, but is it just temporary?
Yeah, and I know my limitations. And that it would take me so much longer to do it myself. And yeah, potentially cost way more money,
Because you'd know you'd screw up.
Oh yeah,
I know I would screw up on something and have to redo it.
and,
There's money that I've already shelled out for it.
do you have all the tools you need to do something like that? Like the L brackets that connect my equipment to the wall, I'm not cutting that with a hacksaw. It's a heavy gauge steel. So, yeah, no. I'm all for doing stuff myself to save some money, but I have zero problems paying a professional when it's life and death, and my trailer is life and death to me. So,
at the end of the day, it's a small price to pay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to know stuff's going to work. You're not going to have gas leaks, water leaks, all the leaks. You don't have to worry about your equipment sliding around when you're moving around, and you got enough stuff to worry about. And again, it's better to be able to point a finger at somebody else and have them fix it. Than if something goes wrong when you're doing it. You got nothing. You got nothing to fall back on. It's just you.
Speaking of food trucks, I'm passing a authentic Mexican food truck at a local Marathon gas station.
Oh yeah.
Might stop there on the way back. Yeah. So been talking with we'll kind of not change subjects, but we'll piggyback off it. I'd love to hear our listeners from other states. What's weird about your state that you find frustrating in regards to a food truck? I'll tell you. So, talking with a friend in Indiana who started his food truck in the state of Indiana, they do not have what we call in Michigan an STFU license. You have to be licensed. You have to have a commissary. No ifs, ands, or buts. And you also have to be licensed in every county that you plan to do business in. So if you're in a county that has a low traffic, you're going to shell out some money for permits. But having that commissary, like you have to have it, it has to be on your SOPs. That could turn off a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than anything else. You have in Michigan, we have counties and cities that are food truck friendly and not, and it's the same with states.
I just found that weird. Like you have to have a commissary. So that means a lot of commissaries that we know of charge a monthly rent. That then figures into what overhead you have and figures into your costs. Just another thing another bill to pay at the end of the month. And it's just instead of being able to park in your driveway and cook everything on your trailer like we can, you just got a lot more stuff you have to worry about. Well, that was interesting. In case you didn't know about it. Oh boy. Did I lose you again?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't talking. You were talking. I don't like to talk over you, Skippy. I like the people to be able to hear you.
I completely understand. I only had one bar, so I'm in the rural Indiana at the moment, passing what looks to be soon to be cornfields. So I apologize.
So going back to commissaries in our area, there's one in downtown Grand Rapids. I actually looked at it pretty seriously. When my ex-wife moved out of her house, sold her house, that's where the trailer was while I was in my apartment. I was going to have to find a spot that wasn't at the apartment because that wasn't going to work, obviously. Our commissary that we had down there was $600 a month. It included trash, water, ice, use of the business center. We could get mail delivery there. package delivery there, including a full loading dock, so we could do pallet delivery there easily. And then electrical hookups. And that was pretty much it. We had use of the kitchen, but you had to reserve blocks of time. And the free kitchen use, or the included kitchen use, only included basic kitchen functions. So dishwashing. I don't think it included stove use or anything. Like, so basic prep, cold prep stuff. Like, we could do pretty much everything we needed to do, except for mac and cheese, and it was included. So we got zero storage, dry or refrigerated, unless we wanted to buy it. And it was, the amounts for storage was insane. So it was like $40 a month for a shelf. It's like a 4-foot by 1.5-foot shelf. But that being said, at the time we were using coolers for all our pop outside, and we were spending roughly $20 to $30 a day in ice, 6 days a week. So you're looking at $150 a week in ice, times by 4, you're at $600. You know,
Yeah.
so
Could have been worth it just for the ice.
just for the ice, right? And then being able to park and have water and wastewater removal and garbage and all the other stuff. I was like, well, it doesn't seem so bad, you know. Even if I still have to have my, you know.
Did it have a grease trap?
Yeah. Yeah, everything is cool. And so really the only issue for me was all the storage of stuff, which is only a medium issue. It's more of an inconvenience at that point. But it's also a 20-minute drive from my house. It was a 25-minute drive from the apartment. It's 20 minutes from my house. So that's more time in the morning that I have to get up and go down there. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's had it been closer, like if it was around the corner from here, and especially as we get to a bigger footprint with multiple trailers, it's going to have to happen at some point of some sort. So either a building that I have that we use as a prep facility and storage facility, or a commissary. I mean, something's got to happen. Or maybe I open my own commissary. That's done right, you know. You gotta. There's enough abandoned buildings in Grand Rapids, not abandoned, but for sale buildings, that you should be able to do storage easy enough, at least dry storage. You know, everybody should be able to get a small amount of dry storage included in their commissary fee. In my opinion.
Well, it should be something, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my experience searching. There's not a lot of options in Grand Rapids. At least there wasn't when I was looking. But
there's really, I mean, when it comes to commissaries, I think people are maybe worried about what to, I don't know, about ask for, or where, you know, what's considered a commissary. I know there are some churches. I know there are some churches, VFWs, things like that are considered commissaries as long as, you know, they'll let you use them.
Yeah.
But typically there's obviously there's always a fee involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Church needs their cut.
But you're also paying to have your trailer at your house. The additional electricity, the additional water, the additional, you know, trash removal, all of which those things are usually included in your commissary fee. So you're paying for it one way or another, whether you feel it the same way or not. You know, you don't cut a separate check to yourself for the electric that you're using.
Yeah, we don't have one in our town. I mean, we have a VFW, but we don't have like a straight.
Yeah.
I guess what we consider a straight commissary.
Yeah, I think there's two. At least there was. There was one in Lowell, which is right next to Grand Rapids, and then the one in Grand Rapids are the two that I know of. But yeah, it'd be nice to see a large facility kind of geared towards food trucks. It would be nice, you know. And maybe that's something that we look at when we get to trailer 3 and 4. Because I've only been cleared for 2 at the house, so.
Oh, hold on! I've seen your driveway. Where's the second one going to park?
In the second driveway.
All right. On that note, I did. A new subject.
Mm-hmm.
I did an event Friday night. I wasn't booked for anything, and somebody reached out to me at a paintball park and asked if we'd come out from like 5 to 9 to sell. I said, yeah, why not? I got nothing to do. So I went out there, and this is a former set of softball fields they've turned into a paintball park, and it's pretty legit as far as they got, you know, AstroTurf and what you see on, if you've ever seen it on TV, those type of things. They got referees, all that wonderful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I parked and set up, and like nobody showed up. I think I did like $300 for Friday night, which sucked. So I got to thinking, they're on a really busy road. I'm talking like 10, 15,000 cars right next to the local, one of the largest prisons in Michigan, that has food trucks come in to feed their employees every now and then. They have a parking spot up front that they use to sell like Amish-built storage barns. And I got to thinking, and I was talking to the owner about this, I'm like, why don't you move the barns aside and make it a food truck park? So have you ever thought, like, to confront an owner or to talk to an owner who's got some land about, like, what would make help start or give ideas about a food truck park?
No.
No?
No, that's not no. Seeking those out to help other people do them, it's not on my radar.
Well, as far as having them have you come in and be a vendor once it's up and running is kind of where I was going with it.
Well, yeah, then yeah, I'm in. But
you know,
as a consultant along the way, no. I'm happy to answer some questions from here and there, but I don't have time to be involved unless they're building it in the off season. Yeah, let me know when applications are available, and I'll be on board. But outside of like a quick survey that they send out to known food trucks or whatever about, you know, what we'd like to see, I can't get much more involved in that, I don't think. It's not that I wouldn't like to. I don't have any more energy to give, mental or physical. I just don't. It's all expended.
I'm tired of driving, so that's why I'm trying to find places in my local area that could, at some point, whether it be next year, you know, be a hotbed of action. Like, I have 20-something subdivisions that I'm signed up for that are an hour away. Granted, they're 3 hours max, and an hour there, hour back. It's just, driving is just getting annoying to me.
Yeah, I don't like driving that far.
It's just, I'm starting to think like Ann Arbor is going to be my limit, but then I'm going to Novi and Northville, which is another 20 minutes. And I don't really have a lot of clientele. It's just subdivisions.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out things more local that if I was a part of, I'd be the first person they called, you know, if they need something. This paintball park had 3 vendors booked before me, and all of them canceled. Now, I can see why they canceled. Absolutely. I showed up, and now like I'm going to be the guy that they call if they ever have a big event that is going to draw people from all over the place. I'm hoping that, obviously that helps out. But
Right.
I guess that's the, where do you go? Where do you draw the line about helping people versus just hoping somebody calls when a big event shows up? It doesn't sound like you're the helper. You're the one who wants to be called at some point or another.
I'm all for helping people, but we're running a business,
Sure.
I'm not sure exactly how to answer your question. For us in
I don't think
locations,
there is a true answer. It's just what you want to do.
For us in locations, I mean, especially locations that are slow, we definitely try to offer guidance in how to make it better. I mean, we've done that with subdivisions, where we go and it, turnout's low, and it turns out low. It's been low for everybody, and they can't get the same truck to come back twice. And now we set those expectations whenever we have a new subdivision of here's what we expect from you to help make this successful. And sometimes, I mean, we've even suggested to some subdivisions that you bring in multiple trucks at a time. Not that the subdivision is so huge that you can support it, but it makes it more of an event. Like the paintball thing. If you have a friend, a food truck friend, or somebody you can bring along with you, and you guys can cross promote it, and you guys can make it more of an event, then yeah. A lot of times when we set up at businesses, I think we get a lot of people that drive by that maybe are interested, but think that there's a tie-in with the business that they need to be doing paintball in order to come do a food truck,
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I think if you get multiple trucks in an area, that it seems more welcoming and more of an event. And then it's the whatever business you're at, them promoting that it's open to the public. Hey, we have food trucks on Friday. Come out and play paintball or not, and just grab a bite to eat. Either way, they're getting exposure. It may not be a direct sale that day, but it may be somebody that stopped by at the food truck for food and didn't realize there was a paintball place there.
True. Absolutely.
So, I'm really on board with multiple food trucks being at what some would consider low headcount events, potentially. I think subdivisions are great, especially if you can get a dessert truck and an entree truck, or non-competing foods together, and then business parks and stuff. I think having 2 trucks is great. I would love to see a second truck at Wiseman with us all day, because I think it would help. I think it looks, when people are driving by, looks more like somewhere they can stop versus we're part of the distillery. Because we've had people stop and ask us questions about the distillery, thinking that we belong to the distillery, that it's one business, and they're just doing their food outside. So, I think, for me, helping, that's how I help. I make suggestions on how they can either promote differently or, or just do some things slightly different, or positioning the trailer slightly different. And then if they're not willing to do small things to help everybody, then you have to cut bait and go. But I know there's places out there that would be willing to work and see value in it. So you just got to find them. You got to keep looking.
What you just said was posted in one of the other food trucks groups about locations. How many times do you, and I think you responded, but how many times do you go to a location before you give it up?
Yeah, and I was surprised at how many people said one.
I was very surprised about that.
Because
very surprised.
We have locations that have been solid every time we've gone, except for once. And it's, right in the middle of it. And, we've gone there 10 times. It's been phenomenal. And then we have a dud where we get 3 people show up. And then the next time we go, it's back to normal. So what if that was your first time was the dud, then you're not going back? It doesn't, and I think 3 is a great average.
Yeah, I'm at 2. I'm at 2 depending on frequency.
Yeah.
If I'm scheduled to be there once a month, I'll probably try 2. If I'm scheduled to be there, once every other week, then I'll go maybe 3 or 4. At least give it maybe even a month. But I was very surprised at the people that said only a week or only one time. That just seems like, okay, what happens if you go to a new brewery or distillery in April? You're not going to try during what would be considered a busy month like May, June, July, August maybe. Like that didn't make any sense to me. It was just very weird.
So
I understand you're going to make money and that's fine, but I think you're the potential for you losing more that you'd make going, trying to find somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just would be.
Well, you have to look for the extremes on both sides of the outlier. So even if it was like your first day there was slamming, and then your next 2 were dead, the next 2, the dead days, outweigh the busy day.
My first day in Brooklyn last year was like $300.
Yeah.
Now I'm over 1,000 each time I'm there.
Yep. And part of that I think is it a new town? Is it a new area for you? Where it might take a little bit of time for people to realize who you are and the food, and for word to get out. Especially for you, where you travel so far to get to all your spots. That you're not, if you go to a new town, you're not necessarily going to have the word of mouth, Yeah. So, 3 is good for us. I think we've done about 10 at Brew Merchant. Probably longer than we should have been. But
you were, at the end of the day, you were looking straight for potential.
Exactly.
The potential there is great.
They were doing all kinds of work on the patio. The patio is looking great. The last time we were there, they had the TVs up on the patio. They're putting forth effort to get people in there during the summer. And unfortunately, it's just not producing. So at this point now, we're like, okay, they've done all this, and there's still not people out here. So maybe it's not a great spot for them either,
Yeah.
So now we're going to look for somewhere else, and the beat goes on, as they say. But
Yep.
It was we were there doing some weekend days because we had nothing else going on. So we were just kind of hanging out there, and it was fine. And then we moved once we started booking, I had other stuff booked. We moved them to a weekday night, which we thought would be a better fit. Because we were pretty much there just evening hours on Saturdays anyways. So we thought, well, if we do a decent dinner, then it's a nice complement to lunch service. But yeah, the later in the year it gets, the slower it seems to get, oddly enough. So, yep, we're cutting bait and going. But yeah, generally for me it's 3. I like to see a good average of 3. And as long as I can see
I'm
something, yeah.
Yeah, I'll say 2 is my normal, but I'll go longer if I see that there's potential.
Good. Yep. Sounds great. I'm out.
Do you have anything you can yell at me for?
That's what I was trying to think of. Talk about your ego some more and the need for it to be fed.
I don't think that's definitely not the case. So I'm going to refute that again for the millionth time. It's not about that. It's about being the face of your business. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
We can hash this out every single day if you want to. I don't care, but it's being the face of your business. It's when your customers come up and see you and they ask you how you're doing, and it's more of you're more
I asked the
personal
person
with
at
your
McDonald's how they're
customers.
doing, or at a mom and
Yeah?
pop bookstore how they're doing, and they're not the owners. And I don't think they're the owner.
But of the people that work your truck, you're one of the owners. Actually, Chris is technically an owner too. So
Correct.
I believe in being as personable with your customers as an owner as you possibly can.
And I am. And still be able to get other stuff done.
Oh, absolutely. You should still be able to get other stuff done.
Yeah, but if I'm open for 8 hours a day, anyways.
Bring your laptop with you. I don't know what to tell you. I can do it.
You're not working all day. Jesus.
I am most of the time. I am.
Are you?
Told you I've opened up for a lot of lunch services this year, and I'm going to continue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dan will hit it and be the myself for doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I just need to be better at managing my time. The fact that you can do all of that and be the only person on your truck most of the time is amazing. And I applaud you, Skippy, and I'm jealous.
So the guy, the person that I talked to in Indiana texted me and said, his message was, I underestimated our strawberry festival. I'm like, oh yeah? He's like, yeah. He's like, it seems like for 2 hours straight, we had 20 plus ticket hanging and 20 people in line, and it didn't stop, and I didn't know what to do. I'm like, you power through it. He's like, that's what I did. I'm like, well, it seems like you did the right thing.
Yeah, just keep going. We're going to have that this weekend for
Just
2
keep
days
going.
straight.
Yeah, you keep rolling with it, and you kind of hope for the.
So I fully expect. Hey, stop it. Fully expect for our rail to be full the entire time we're open on Friday, and most of the time we're open on Saturday. And
So in that empty spot in your trailer, you should probably put stools.
Why? Ain't nobody got time to sit down. What the fuck are you talking about?
You got time to lean, you got time to clean.
No, but once that counter goes in, we will be bringing in a couple of chafing dishes, and we will have a makeshift sandwich prep table there during those times.
Okay.
So Chris or whoever will be able to crank out some loaded Macs over there, which means our communication skills will be tested to the max. So.
Oh, they will be put to the yes. I want to be on the truck when that happens.
Maybe I can get a feed up and we can go Facebook Live for part of that. But yeah, so yeah, it's we are gonna max out everything we can.
You got that whole,
what's that?
you got that whole area. You got that whole area now. You can make that a makeshift like fast station. Like put a little bit of pork over there, a little bit of brisket, and that could be like your nacho and loaded mac station.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna do. That's what I just said.
That's smart.
It's exactly what I just said.
Let's talk about your golf game.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
Are you that out of things to talk about?
I'm glad
I played absolutely horribly. I hadn't played in a year. I have some minor overuse injuries in some muscle areas that are a little bit sore and tender. But the only reason I played is because I have an event outing next Tuesday in a week. So I wanted to get out once at least to play before I play in that, and found my swing from time to time. So just like riding a bike.
Is Chris and Pam working the truck when you're out at this outing or this outing?
Yep, they sure are.
Good for them.
Good for me. This is why I have people.
Good.
So I can do these things without having to close down my truck. You know? And Skippy just got off the frickin' meeting. He didn't like me saying that. What a baby. Oh, let me see if I can track him down. So I guess a good question would be, for those that are running their food trucks, are you on your trailer, owners, I'm talking to you owners, are you on your trailer the entire time you're open? I know, Bubba, you are typically, if your trailer's open, you're on it. You work pretty limited hours, though. But I'd be curious to see Ledato and stuff like that, what their ratio is on the trailer, off the trailer. And I know every situation's a little bit different. And with Mr. Ledato, I know you are. Hold on, I just got a message from Skippy. You have the restaurant too, so it's a little bit different for you. But even then, I know that you had a vacation recently, so you were able to step away from all of it and be able to take some time to yourself without closing down your entire business, which I think is important for both the business sustainability and all our mental health. Skippy says he's trying to get back in. I wonder if he'll be able to get back in before we're done with the podcast today, which we only got a couple minutes left. I think next week, everybody, we'll have some stuff to talk about our weeks. I have huge events coming up, some food truck festivals that should be pretty crazy, but we'd love to do like another Q&A session with you guys. So send in your questions either on the comment on the podcast format that you're using or through our Facebook page, Monday Morning Food Truck MMFT, and we'll see them there, and we'll talk about whatever you guys want us to talk about next week. There is no taboo subjects. We will be open about anything you guys want to know. We have been from the start, so we'll continue that. We'll try to give advice when we can. Skippy is back. I was just letting everybody know as we're wrapping up the show.
Hey.
He did make it back before we were done, so he has about 30 seconds left of airtime. But I was letting them know that I think we were going to do another Q&A session next week for the episode, and encouraging those questions to come into our Facebook or on the comments of the podcast. And that we will be open about anything. We are not professionals in a lot of areas, or experts in a lot of areas. We are learning just like you guys. So take any advice or comments with a grain of salt, please. Definitely don't follow any tax advice that we may accidentally give, or money advice that Skippy has and stashed in his mattress. I don't recommend that. But anyway, Skippy, what do you got?
Mattress really comfortable. Nothing. I'm glad to be back for 10 seconds. Hope everybody enjoyed today's trailer with Skippy and Josh. And Josh is in an outing next Tuesday, so wish him luck. I hope everybody has a great week.
Bye, everyone.
Peace.
Bye.